We're going to be talking to my friend Tamarindo Matt in a minute about real estate, how the real estate market's going in Costa Rica, and specifically his area of Tamarindo, which a lot of people seem to want to move to. And we'll get to that in about 40 seconds. Hey, we got the new dates for the relocation retreat. So if Costa Rica's on your radar, but you're not quite sure this 6-7 day event might be for you, best contacts, man. The contacts are worth the price of admission. We have a whole lot of fun. I would love to meet you and chat with you around the pool. We have so much fun with Sarah, and everyone ends up bonding. But I think at the end, you'll know whether Costa Rica is right for you or it's, honey, we're going to Belize. All that info, all the information to the next one is in the link in the description below. Hope to see you there. Now let's talk to Tamarindo Matt. Now, hold on.
All right.
One second. All right, we're going to catch up with our good friend Matt, see how the real estate business is going up in his area of Tamarindo and Playa Honquiel. You know, I haven't talked to Matt in a long time, so we're going to catch up on what's happening in the real estate market. And I'm Michael Allen, TravelCostaRicaNow.com. If you haven't subscribed, please do. YouTube's hard. I would tell you to hit the notification bell, but it doesn't really mean a want to donate and you want to show me some love for 16 years of videos and free information, it's a fun way to donate. Link in the description of Buy Me a Coffee. You know I like coffee. One cup is $5, but you could buy me a lot more.
Do it.
Yeah, right? All right, Matt, man, it's been a long time. Let's catch up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we probably chatted 2 or 3 years ago.
I think so.
Shortly after COVID. We didn't really get to catch up in June because I was going through some stuff on my end. But yeah, it is now November 4th, 2024. Tomorrow's the big day. Yes. My kids have their tennis lessons at 4:30 p.m., so we're all looking forward to Tuesday evening.
That's funny. Okay, so let's catch up and go. Just act like we've never talked to you before.
Yep.
Who are you? What do you do? What's going on? This is the outline version.
Absolutely. My name is Matt Rosensteel. I came to Costa Rica in 2008 as a Peace Corps volunteer. Spent 2 years in a tiny isolated village. Sort of stuck around, and now I am owner-broker of Coldwell Banker Pacific Realty, a franchise that I have with an associate. I'm also Costa Rica Matt. On my channel, I provide guidance on real estate primarily.
Yeah, go give him a subscribe, man. He's got a lot of great information out there. I'll tell you, if you don't know anything about Costa Rica, I can tell you one thing. An honest, good real estate guy, woman is hard to find, and when you do find them, you kind of got to keep them. And so we found Matt a few years ago in the bushes. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
No. So let's catch up a little bit. So you sell properties up, if people don't know, up in the Tamarindo, I'd say Playa Honquiel, but I'm not sure how much.
Nobody's going to know, yeah. In Playa Honquiel, we're about 45 minutes south of Tamarindo. And yeah, the range of coastline where I'm working in Guanacaste is really the Canton de Santa Cruz. But we go from Potrero Beach all the way in the far north, about 2 hours north of my house, all the way down to Ostional, about 2 hours south of my house.
You do?
I mean, I would.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you before I forget. So now, do you have other people like in the biz that you feel comfortable with maybe recommending that go a little bit more south?
Absolutely.
Than you do? So like if somebody goes, oh, Matt just said he does this one area, do you think he'd have anybody down here? Do you have...
100%. And really outside of that area, I strictly refer people. It's tempting to say, a big client calls you up and says they want a multi-million-dollar house. It's tempting to say, I'll drive down to Jaco for that.
I'll drive down to Jaco.
Well, no, but you expose, you really, first of all, you don't know what you're doing down there.
Right.
Your service to people in Costa Rica, really the value that I provide are those, 16 years of living and working in a particular area where I know the ins and outs, I know who's who, I can bring a team of experts to the table to help out with other aspects of real estate. I go down to Jaco and I am just another schmuck with a car and a driver's license.
Good point. So what is going on? So last time we talked, I think the market was kind of booming.
Absolutely,
because it was here. In
in 22 and 23 in Guanacaste. Let's be specific. The real estate market for foreigners moving down to Costa Rica was exploding. Obviously there's the local Costa Rica market. If we're talking about people moving from California, Canada, etc., down to Guanacaste, there was a rush in 22 and 23 that felt just like the rush in 2006, 7, and 8. You can't buy it fast enough. People are paying whatever price they have to get that one house at the end of the one road in the particular development. And now, in 2024, at the end of the year here, we've seen a lot of that demand taper off, and you're moving much more towards a balanced market where sellers have to be fair with their asking prices, and where listings do sit on the market significantly longer than they were in 22 and 23.
Now, what was just refresh my memory, was it because of the C word?
Yeah.
You never know when you get demonetized, Matt. It's
I
hard
was
to
gonna say, hopefully the algorithm. Absolutely, the pandemic drove huge numbers of people to move to Costa Rica who I don't think normally would have.
That's what I saw personally, but
100%. Where prior to that, you had a lot of people on that emotional edge of maybe we should do something different with our lives and go abroad. The pandemic just ratcheted up the emotional, the things that people were going through, and you saw tons of people take the leap who wouldn't have without the pandemic playing a role.
So now it's just not it's just balanced. It's evened out. It's not. Is it low, or is it just where it should have been almost?
Well, that's. With no functioning MLS and no great data to compare to,
Yeah, true.
It's really tough to say, with precision where things are. You can sort of look at the macro indicators. The business, that we're doing as Coldwell Banker nationally is definitely in the, it's not half of what happened in each of those years. It is above half, but it's 30% lower in terms of sales volume. Right where it should be, I think that there are still a lot of people buying property in Costa Rica who I would honestly say are doing so, they shouldn't be for one reason or another. We've still got more buyers than what I think rational human being behavior should be.
Right.
Tons of people worried about political tension up north. Lots of people who maybe COVID is still affecting their mentality. They couldn't sell their house last year because of interest rates. Now they're finally selling, and they're still in that mix.
Now, during this time, back then, were they building a lot too? I mean, did it turn into like a hot go where there's just vacant?
See, that's what
condos and communities where they were planning on selling, and it kind of got stalled big time.
Well, it's an interesting question because right now you see so much for sale and so much development that's happened on paper rather than in reality. Developers saw 22 and 23. All of them felt, oh my gosh, this is just a gold mine.
Ride the bubble.
They started, and now you see a lot of new projects opening their gates for their first sales of lots, condos, and homes. In Tamarindo right now, there are 3 major pre-construction condo projects for sale, all in sort of like the 24 to 36 condo range. One is a 9-story tower set back from the beach, and the other 2 are complexes right up on the water. Those are a total response to what you saw in 22 and 23. It remains to be seen. They're all sort of just starting their sales, and I think in 2 years, we could be at a point where they've all sold and the developers are just, happy as they can be. Or there are other scenarios where in 2 years, one of those projects stalled, didn't make it, and is now an abandoned construction site.
I don't know if you know, but are the prices, have you seen the prices? Do they look reasonable? Do they start high and they've taken down, or were they not bad? Or
Well, unfortunately, I would say that prices reflect now what developers had to pay for their land
then.
now.
I get what
now, yeah. So Most developers who have purchased their lot did so in the post-pandemic era. And so their price was already, they didn't come down here 30 years ago and buy a whole farm for pennies on the dollar.
Right.
They bought from 3 generations of flipper, and now they're paying $2 million for that beachfront site. Their land cost, the bureaucracy of getting the whole development started, the infrastructure, everything that adds time, delay, etc. It's almost impossible, I think, for developers these days to put together projects and offer nice 2-bedroom bungalows for $200,000, $300,000. I think their starting cost is above what used to feel like reasonable prices. Now, most of them, like we were just talking about in our other video, people hear prices and start to go up with their own. You don't see developers coming in with new inventory on the lower price points. It's a lot of $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 condos.
Well, that could be interesting what happens with those in the next couple of years, I think.
Time will tell. Personally, I know that there will be a lot of people headed down to Costa Rica on November 6th, one way or another. But I do think that, like we saw in 2008 and 9, Costa Rica is so dependent on global economic conditions, and foreigners, U.S., expats, immigrants are not going to come down here and buy property if they've just had a major hiccup in the financial markets in the U.S., which, I'm not saying are going to happen necessarily going to happen, but seems like could at any moment, and we could be looking at a lot of stalled projects.
Have the people that were trying to sell personal houses, forget the projects, have they dropped prices, or do they understand? Because I don't know. And for tuna, once it goes high here, they can't let go. They cease to think anymore.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like, no, we're sticking with.
Well, sellers are stubborn. They own, foreign sellers own their properties outright in cash, and they're generally paying their costs in rentals. So they don't have those financial motivations to sell. Yes, you see a lot of just stubbornness. I'm not coming down to where the market would give me a buyer. I paid this much for my house. I'm listing it this much, and I won't get out of the market until someone brings me this much. What you are seeing is that, especially at the luxury end, in 22 and 23, you saw people throwing out multi-million-dollar numbers for homes that were absolute insanity. A home that physically only cost $500,000, $600,000 to build on a piece of property that used to be worth $100,000. Okay, now it's worth $300,000. The $1 million of intrinsic value in the property, and they'd be asking $2.5, $3, because there's no other 3-bedroom this close to the private school. Now you've seen those people stop with those absolute insane luxury prices to a degree. A lot of them are coming back on the market with more humility than what you saw in 22 and 23.
Doesn't that put you in a predicament when you're trying to sell those houses, or do you take on those clients? Because, you know what I mean? I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, absolutely.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but it's like, okay, Matt, I want you to sell my house for me, but here's what I want. And you're going, well, that's ridiculous.
How
do you work that?
I'm lucky to be 45 minutes south of Tamarindo, and basically almost 100% of the sellers that approach me are in our little quiet town where they're still asking pretty reasonable prices. You can get something that costs $350,000 to build for $375,000.
Well, Honkyale's always been a good option, hasn't
Totally.
it? But people just don't know.
I don't have these luxury clients calling me every day to list their homes. And but as a great example, recently people who bought through us called me saying we would pay $950 for our house today, and we said your house is worth somewhere in the $650 range maximum, and they went with another brokerage immediately. Over time, I find I'm in absolutely no predicament if I give honest answers. If people want to say, I want $1 million for this anyway, I'm only going to work with you exclusively, I'll say, look, we can start there. We're going to be talking about reductions when the market doesn't bring us this price.
Okay, I know you got to go. So
I'm about to say, yeah.
one really quick question.
Yeah.
What do you think for the future? Next year, predictions for the next year.
Predictions for the next year, I would predict that everybody is going to be disappointed in the next United States president.
Oh my God. Okay, this Matt, thanks. Thanks, man. Way to throw a wrench in that. Michael.